Okay, so I just spoke a lot. I'll switch to my demo. Okay. So, of course, I'll go to the end user level itself. So whereas user comes into organization in the morning, he's been given 3 options out of this. Which would you choose? Password, PIN, fingerprint. How many of you are with passwords? Just give it a hands up. Okay. How many of you are with PIN? How many of you are with fingerprints? Okay. Now tell me a 12-character password or a 6-character PIN, which is more secure? Passwords, just give a hands up. Okay. So all of you agree with PIN. Great. Simply, you log into the device with your, okay, right. So either with your PIN or your thumb, that is basically the passwordless. And apart from that, let me log into my mail account via browser. If you look at, as soon as I typed in my username, there was no password prompt for me, but I got a authenticator prompt instead. Now, this is what passwordless is in terms of your day-to-day activity. Does that mean my password is removed from this? No. I have the password option as well. So simply I have to authenticate through my right. Yes, sure. Yes, of course. So basically, Microsoft does not recommend having your password resetted on a frequency basis, let's say 45 days or 60 days. Basically, what they say, you go with passwordless and password is set to never expire. The reason behind, we used to bring on a legacy where we had the passwords, we resetted, so and so. But today's scenario, we are not using the password anymore. The reason behind, your password is there for a backup purpose, but still you are not using the password on daily basis. If you are not using it, the chances of your password is getting compromised is less there. So basically, you have your password, but you are not going to use it, go with passwordless. And this same authentication can be extended to any of the applications that are attached to your Azure Active Directory, right? And if you ask whether this applies only to your web-based applications, not at all. This can be extended to your on-premise-based applications as well, right? So, and let me show you a quick thing as well. So I just logged into my demo environment. In the meantime, it logs in. So as Samarth asked whether we can go with passwordless, yes, that can be done. And apart from that, the challenge that we have is that we have our cloud-based environment, whereas we are dependent on our on-premise as well. So how do we connect to our on-premise environment without having a VPN access and via internet securely? It is possible, whereas Microsoft has its own secure service edge solutions, whereas you get to extend the same level of protection. For an example, I'm authorized to log in only from Sri Lanka, only from a compliant device, which is this, and through my credentials. So these conditions can be extended to my on-premise environment as well, so that if I'm coming through my internet connection from my personal device, that can be denied once again. And if I'm coming from a compliant, a managed device, it will be allowed once again. And extending any sort of multi-factor authentication, a continuous access evaluation, anything. So all that is extended to your on-premise infrastructure as well. So you can connect from your home or from anywhere while you're on the move to your on-premise environment without any interruptions via internet. So that is the power of having identity-centric SSE solution in place, along with bringing all those cloud controls in place, right? So if you have to extend whether I can have it on a role-based for certain users, yes, that is also possible, right? For an example, if I show you, this particular device, this is not controlled via any firewall. If I go to any YouTube or Facebook, completely it blocks via internet connection, and there is no connectivity between my on-premise network also. So this is completely managed via my SSE and my endpoint as well. Plus, in terms, if someone is trying to share any sort of data from my on-premise infrastructure to an external environment, at that point, yes, the endpoint DLP will kick in, which is built into your operating system itself. So vice versa, wherever you go, you have your devices protected end-to-end with zero trust in place, coming into your identity, your device, your data, plus your zero trust network evaluation as well. So this is an end-to-end solution, whereas it gives you control over the entire platform, and not only restricted to Windows, it is applied to Android, iOS, macOS, Linux, etc. That's it. And any questions? I think I'm overboard by 5 minutes. I'll have to hand it over to my colleague. Okay, I'll be over. Yes.
So if you're suggesting the password should never expire,
Okay.
is there a white paper by Microsoft that gives this kind of recommendation? Because all forms of auditors request the old-fashioned password policy.
Totally understood. So, yes.
That's the reason we can't put it as never expires.
Totally understood. So, it's a recommendation coming from Microsoft itself.
But where is the article?
Definitely, we will share it with you. So, I think we have the Microsoft Sri Lanka security expert over here as well, and he can comment on that. Okay. Definitely, that should happen. Before we go to end customers, we'll have to convince the auditors first.
So I will just explain. First of all, I'm Azmi Salih from Microsoft Sri Lanka as a modern work security and specialist. So today in Microsoft, we have passwordless, right? How do we achieve that passwordless? It's purely based on biometrics and pins, right? For devices and for the accounts. So we have all what Madushan explained. Finding out whenever you're signing in, your locations are tracked, right? If you are being risky user, it is automatically identified and immediately blocked, right? And the phone that you use, right? All of these are part and parcel of the entire identity concept of authentication and authorization. So today, if I want to log in to my machine, what happens is that I use a PIN. I don't use a password, right? So that's my device security. Then, when you log in to an application, let's say, for example, I have internal Microsoft applications, it do re-authentication. First of all, finds out my device is compliant, right? And if it's a more secure, let's say I have customer data which I should be accessing, what happens is that it will prompt me for second factor authentication. Well, you can say a third factor authentication because your device is already authenticated, right? So at that point, you get a message on your phone to get the biometrics first, which is from your mobile phone. And then it will ask you also to request a PIN. And when the MFA prints out, it will also give you the location ID and a code that you need to type into the phone and access these applications. So in a way, that's the future. But if you don't have all those functionalities with biometrics and all that, it's very difficult to achieve passwordless. If not, it's straightforward and very easy. And I know Madushan has done this for the government of Maldives and a few others as well. And they have successfully implemented it and working, right? And